Recording. Okay, everybody, recording now. I'm smiling because I know very well that if I have 170 people here at 2 in the afternoon with not too much notice, that there's a combination of a lot of excitement. There's a whole bunch of what in the world's going on now. And I just see that my coffee's cold. Hold on. You just nuke that coffee for me. It's cold, please. Okay, so my intention is just based on my own experiences here, the fact that we have 182 people here right now, and the fact that time zones are not convenient for everybody. I'm intending on doing a training every day for the upcoming days until we can see that the immediate need has been met. And so I'll announce it later on tonight, probably be at a different time of day tomorrow and then a different time of day the next day, because I'd like to get the information across to as many people as I can. And this is going to be extremely rudimentary training today. This is to meet the needs of the people who, like me, are complete absolute newcomers to AI. If you've got background in artificial intelligence, you're going to say, my gosh, Randy, you're saying everything that I learned 6 months ago or 2 years ago. True enough, but I didn't learn it 6 months or 2 years ago. And there's lots of other people here who didn't learn it 6 months or 2 years ago either. And so we're going to start at the very, very beginning. And I'll ask each of you to be patient with me. And please also know that because I'm sharing my screen, I cannot see the comments and messages that you might be sending to me. However, go ahead and send them anyway, because I'll break a couple of times and look to make sure that we're getting questions answered as we go along or when I begin to share screen. So the first thing that I want to do is notify you all that right up there, if you want to get to the tool suite, there is the address. It is my.app.getlev.ai. So that's how basic we're going to be on. Going to begin showing people how to get to the things that some people have not been able to find. And so when I start my screen broadcast, then we are going to once again get as elementary as one can. And so there you can see that the website address, thank you, that the website address in my browser up there is what? It is my.app.getlev.ai. So that is how you get to the tools. So I will here enter my email address. You would do the same. Any of you went to my.app.getlev.ai. That is how you'd find yourself here. I'm going to enter my email address just as you would. And having so done, now make sure I got that done right. Looks like I did. Now I will put in my password just as you would. And now we connect to the tool suite. Now you will note that we have two separate portals to log in right now. Is that perfect? No, that's imperfect. You know, being part of the foundation, being part of the base level foundational development process of any company has its areas of tremendous excitement and it has its areas of challenge. So would I prefer that we were simply logging into one office and then had a link to toggle back and forth to a tool suite? Of course, I would prefer that. And I assure you that that will come. When will it come? I don't know. That's not a really, really important issue right now. But when will it come? It will come pretty soon. So now I've logged in. And when I've logged into the LEV AI tool suite. And in the tool suite, we're going to see these various functionalities. We will see, for example, here my network where we'll add our contacts, add leads, and so on. And here it will teach us, and we're simply put here, craft a personal social media post. Now, here's the deal. I've had more than one person craft their first social media post and then say, Randy, you told me this would sound like me, and it doesn't sound at all like me. And you told me, Randy, that it would sound like you, and your first social media post didn't sound like you. Absolutely true. Do you also remember in our various dialogue that I stated that the more dense is the information, the more densely compacted is the content that you give Lev AI, then the more conversational and the more like you the content will sound. If you've written one paragraph about yourself, is there any reason to believe that this piece of technology would be able to identify all there is about you? Of course not. And so the more densely you populate the various screens with information about yourself, the more of you write, the more it will know about the way you write. the more interest you put there, the more it'll be able to craft posts that do sound like you. And so no, it will not sound like you immediately if you've put two or three paragraphs or two or three sentences into the fields, into the dialog boxes. Then it will sound, maybe it will bounce across the line like the very first thing that I wrote. It said, "What are my habits?" I said, "Well, I like to play golf and I like business," or something like that. And so then the very first thing that I had it right was the cheesiest thing about, trying to make a likeness between me getting a business solution correct and Tiger Woods making a 75-foot putt. I mean, the two really don't have very much in common at all. But because I had given it so little to deal with, I'd simply told it, I enjoy these things. That's what I gave it to work with. And so it came back referencing those two things, but not referencing them in the tiniest way, as it might sound if I were expressing those things. And so we've logged in. Having logged in, now what do we do? Down here it says here are these quick links. And so the first thing that we must do is train my AI writer. That I believe would be the first thing that I would do. And I guess it doesn't matter which is the first thing because they all need to get done. And they all need to get done somewhat comprehensively. There is a little bit of work and a little bit of investment in time to make this tool be effective for you. Remember, that's what this is. This is a tool. A shovel is a tool, and a backhoe is a tool. But if a shovel and a backhoe are both sitting out there and no person knows how to operate either one of them, they will both have the exact same effectiveness, zero. But when a person learns how to use a shovel, well, one person knowing how to use a shovel can dig a better ditch than one person sitting on a backhoe not knowing how to start it. See, the fact that you have the most influential, the most impactful, the most amazing tool does not mean that you'll become more effective in your utilization of that tool until unless you learn how to operate the tool. And in this particular case, the tool literally needs to learn you. You need to learn how to operate the tool, and the tool needs to learn how to become your companion. Right now, it does not. And so the first thing we do is we come on here and we click on Train AI Randy. And so here it tells me to learn about me. I know that some of you have filled these out and some of you have not yet. Some of you didn't know how to log in until right now. Some of you have filled them out very inconclusively. Like when Samantha sat down and first looked at it, I wrote down one word responses to questions and I wrote down very, very insignificant things. And the result was that I got back my very social media post. I had a few people say, "But Randy, that doesn't sound at all like you." No, it didn't, but I didn't give it enough information for it to begin to sound like me. Now, please, all of us understand this as well. We today are crafting the parts of the LEV AI solution that are exclusive from the interactive avatar, so there's the digital clone, which is not interactive, and then there's the higher iteration of it, which is the interactive digital clone. Neither of those are yet in this back office. They are both coming, but neither are here right now. I cannot tell you the exact date. I believe. The fact that I believe it doesn't mean it's going to happen, but I believe that the timeline is 7 to 10 days for us to have the digital avatar and for us to have the interactive avatar. We're in the 10-day to 2-week window. And if I'm surprised, I believe I'll be surprised on the short side of that window, not the high side, but we'll see. Anyone who knows me, you don't have to have artificial intelligence to know that I am almost terminal in my optimism. And sometimes that serves me well, and sometimes it does not. But when I began teaching it about myself, I taught it so little about myself that, not surprisingly, when I asked it to draw from such limited knowledge, remember, you've heard me say how densely compacted is the information that we teach it. And so to my digital avatar, I have uploaded, or Samantha's uploaded on my behalf, on our behalf, hundreds and hundreds of hours of content. And so my digital avatar, when it gets added to this back office, that digital avatar knows a lot because I began uploading content to it 10 days or 2 weeks ago. And so there's hours and hours and hours of content there. If we could turn on that interactive avatar right now, it would have a conversation that is pretty darn close to an actual conversation. And by the way, I do want to say this. I posted my digital avatar, my interactive avatar speaking French. and I don't speak French. And so afterwards, I had a comment from one of our French-speaking counterparts, and she made a reference about it being good. But I didn't I wanted to dig a little bit deeper. Was it good because it was cool? Was it good because she wanted to be nice to me? Was it good because the spoken French was good? And her response back to me was, it was spoken like a Frenchman. It was excellent. I want you all to know that the work that we do today, and when I say the work, it's entertaining for me, it's engaging for me. It's not been a burdensome task for me to teach the virtual version of me how to be better than the actual version of me, because that's what it's about. It's about transferring to the version of me all of the attributes and keeping the negative parts to myself. That's the truth. I'm transferring all of my positive attributes and I'm keeping the more challenging parts to me. Why would I transfer them? I have enough difficulty myself dealing with them. I wouldn't want to turn that on loose on somebody else. And so as we add more content, more and more and more content, then the various posts and responses to messages, the various emails that we ask it to write on our behalf, they become closer and closer to being as good as us. And then in the not too distant future, they become better than us because they've been loaded with all of our of value content experiences, and they have been left bereft of the more adversarial ones. And so we start out simply name, so on. That's easy. Then what is your job title? You'll see that doesn't really describe a job title, does it? As I first wrote it, delivering accessible AI to the masses, that's not really a job title. What is my job title? I'm the president of our company. I am the president of our home-based business. That is my job title. I am the president. So that's what should be there. What drew me to this role? Well, then I went right in there, whatever draws me. But once again, the more inclusive, the more comprehensive is what I write, then the more the AI twin, or in this case, the writing assistant, is going to be able to mirror what my thoughts are. When I give it little, then it's going to draw from that which is vague, and none of us are vague. We are specific. What information would you like to share about your family? Now, here, and again, I move quickly past this. If we spent this much time on every tab, we'd be here for 4 days. There are those who are not going to put a lot of stuff there because they think it's intrusive. Folks, the more we're willing to share with others, not sharing anything that's inappropriate, but the more that we're willing to share with others, the more they will get a connection with us. And so I will share a lot. I will not share things that are personal. I will not share things that are held in confidence, of course, but I will share a lot. Before 3 more days have gone by, I will have uploaded a lot. I'm talking about a lot. There will be 3 or 4 pages written in each one of these gaps, in each one of these fields of information fields. And if that doesn't create the dense enough content, then there'll be 3 or 4 more pages, and then 3 or 4 more pages, such that every time I ask it to write a post, it is drawing from enough knowledge that it does sound like me, given the specific situation that I'm talking about right now. So understand this. You get to choose. Just a few minutes ago, Samantha said somebody called and said it doesn't sound like him or her. Well, each of us get to choose how much it sounds like us by how much information do we give it. If we give it enough information, if we give it enough information, it will sound closer and closer and closer to us. And so at the very outset, I wrote down here goals and dreams for my family to live life in the absence of financial pressure and have joy. That's true. It also is very, very narrow. It's not shallow. Those are fairly deep thoughts, but it's very narrow. If I want it to become conversational, then those thoughts must not be narrow, but they must be deep and they must be broad and they must be inclusive. Now, if I want it to think like me, then here are these various things that I enjoy. And so I put in here that I enjoyed golf. The very first social media post, in fact, I didn't even post it because it was almost comical. It was, I enjoy golf and I was raised on a potato farm. And, it was something like, how can you imagine Tiger Woods hitting golf balls down a potato field? I mean, it wasn't that ridiculous. But if we don't give it any information to work with, then it's going to pull out things that will sound trite and trivial. And so, what really and truly are my interests? Not just the surface interests. Well, what are my interests? I would like to push myself hard against the grinding wheel throughout my entire life, such that at the conclusion thereof, I am vibrating at my absolute highest pitch when I draw my last breath. That is what I want. I see. There's a lot more to that than by saying I enjoy snowmobiling, isn't there? And so once again, I started out just putting the one words, and the one words resulted in something completely insufficient. not because the technology is not sufficient, but because I did not give it sufficient information to craft um, a thought-provoking post. When you read, and by the way, I want to share with you guys a couple of things because it's one of my responsibilities and frankly one of yours. If we're going to use AI as a business, remember that everybody on planet Earth, everybody will use AI in their business. The question is, will we use AI in our business? And at the same time, will we use AI as a business? Or as a final alternative, will we use AI as our principal business, setting other ventures aside because we make a big enough commitment to it? Well, I have chosen to use AI as my business. I will also use it in other parts of my life because I've become convinced in this short introduction that there's value here that I cannot create it either way. And so I'll use AI in my business, I will use AI in my personal life, and I will use AI as a business. With that in mind, today I just did a quick scan. And what I saw was that in 2025, we're not even done with 2025 yet, are we? Here we are. We are just about to enter the 10th month. We're not quite 9 months through 2025. And in 2025, 65 million people who did not use AI before this year started are using it today. 65 million. Now, there's 8 billion people in the world. And so, as a percentage, that's a small number. But as a gross figure, that's stunning, isn't it? 65 million people have begun using AI in calendar year 2025. 178,000 people today used AI for the first time. 178,000 people will use AI tomorrow for the first time. For the balance of this year, the average will gradually grow from 178 million to approximately 195 million daily by the end of this year, growing by 17 million per day by the end of this year. Some people have asked me, Randy, why did LEV AI choose to come to market right now when you have stated that you knew in advance that there would be challenges with some credit card processing, that you knew in advance by bringing it to market now that there would be some challenges which could have been foreseen and avoided by waiting until January. Why did we do it now? Because we didn't want 178,000 people every day between now and January to select another source, because once a source is selected, it is far easier to retain that client than it is to extract them from another. We would way rather have the next 178,000 that are not coming to us from another vendor. If they're coming to us from another vendor, that by its definition is competition. It means that we're winning because somebody's losing. That's not the business I want. What I want is the very first bite of that apple. I want the 178,000 every day who are not leaving another vendor because we're better. I want them because they're coming to us first. And we would lose 178,000 opportunities daily, every day between now and the end of the year, if we waited until January 1st to roll this project out. That is why we chose to bring Levi to market right now, recognizing that there would be some challenges that go along with it. And by the way, I own those challenges. If there are some of you who wish it had not been introduced until it was perfect on January 1st and we could open the whole market the first day instead of some this week and some next week, if there's some who wishing there weren't two but logins to the back office now, but just one, and you wish we'd waited until then, well, blame it on me. I am the guy who was at fault. I am the one who insisted that we not allow a day to go by, because right now it's 178,000 a day. And by the end of the year, it's going to be 195,000 per day. And by the end of next year, it's going to be 500,000 per day. Those are the forecasts, folks. And so it's kind of profound and it demands attention. 99% of USA employees use AI today, and 93% of them don't know it. Isn't that a fascinating thing? 98% of AI employees, of USA based employees, use AI in some fashion today, and 93% of the 98% don't know they're using it. That is how the tentacles of AI are weaving their way into our society as we speak. Literally weaving their way into our society. Already it is such that if you tried to extract the various ribbons, you could not extract it. It is already a part of the web. It is already a part of the web of our culture. 82% of USA entrepreneurs have either started minimally, and that's the description, minimally using AI, sticking their toe in the water, trying to figure out what is it, what is it, what is it? I'm hearing about it, I don't know, I understand it. 82% have either begun using or intend to begin using in the coming year. And so now what we'd really like, given those those striking numbers. And by the way, if there's even one of you who expresses frustration because something's not perfect today, blame me. Because I am the one who said, no, we must get to market because I'm not interested in having 178,000 people already establish another home that I have to try to extract them from. I want the very first bite of the apple. I want that first bite of the apple on your behalf. And therefore, I am not just willing, but very, very happy to have two separate logins for a little while so that we gain access to it all. Okay, think about me. Once again, going back to the very same dialogue I had a few moments before. What are your interests? What I put down was golf, snowmobiling, leadership development, personal growth, and financial success. That's what I put down. If I were to write a paragraph after each one of them, not if, but when I do, when I write what it is that I enjoy about golf and why don't I play it so much anymore, that tells you something about me. Why don't I play it much anymore? Because I was once really good, folks. I mean, I was once only a little bit away. I played Division I college golf, and I played with some of the guys that went on to play on the Pro Tour. I played with a kid named Jadon Blake that played 17 years on the PGA Tour. I played with a guy named Bobby Clampett that was the hottest thing of his generation. I played with Keith Clearwater and Pat McGowan and Jim Nelford, and I even had the opportunity to play once with a guy named Johnny Miller when he was at the end of his career, and I was trying to start one. It's not a lot of fun for me to do anything today, not as well as I once did it. I'm 68 years old and I don't practice and I don't play, and it's no longer the most important thing in my life. It's one of the it's in fact, it's just pure pleasure now. It's relatively unimportant to me. And it's not fun for me to do something not as well as I once did. So that's why I don't play golf anymore, because it's not very fun for me to do something not as well as I once did. That says a lot about me. You see, by telling AI that, by telling them why I don't play golf anymore, that's giving them a glimpse into the depths of me. See, to the degree that you're willing to give this tool glimpses into the depths of you, that is what will result in it having the breadth of knowledge to properly represent you on your behalf. Do not expect it to properly represent you if all you say is, I like golf and I'm a fan of Tiger Woods. That doesn't say anything. Why am I a fan of Tiger Woods? I'm a fan of Tiger Woods because he is the single best that ever walked on planet Earth at a given task. And anyone who is the absolute best. And by the way, that doesn't happen just because of talent. No kidding. Did God load him up with talent? Yes. But how many hours did he practice his intensity? He had talent, but he then took that talent and refined it to a higher level than anybody ever, ever, ever has. And then what did he do? In his weakness and in his failings, he taught us as much as he did in his strength. He taught us that no matter how good you are, the rules that govern humankind don't change. There are consequences for our behaviors that sometimes have deep, deep, deep costs. And so there's so much that is there. But you see, if I write, why am I really a fan of Tiger Woods? Because he went to the top. He got hit as hard by life as he could get hit. It's continued, and he has been resilient and he has hung in there. And in later years, he's become a gentleman instead of the arrogant guy that he once was. In later years, he's learned to have compassion for others. Life has, in fact, had a tempering influence on Tiger Woods. And that's the part of him that I love. You see, if AI knows that's why I love Tiger, not because I saw him pumping his fist 10 times, squishing like the competition like a bug again, that doesn't express it, does it? So my question is, how deep is the content that you're giving your AI writing assistant so that your AI writing assistant can think like you? And when it comes down here, I can simply write down what my favorite books are. And that's what I did first. I just wrote them down. But if you want the content to get great, not good, then write down why you like it. What was the single most important thing that you learned in that book? Why does the author resonate with you so completely? See, there's no such thing as getting something for nothing. I didn't go to very many college courses, but I did go to economics 101 before they realized I had no credits and kicked me off the golf team and I was gone. But the professor wrote an acronym on the board. It was called TANSTAFL. TANSTAFL. TANSTAFFL. And what in the world's TANSTAFL? There ain't no such thing as a free lunch. That's what TANSTAFL stands for. He was teaching an economic principle. There ain't no such thing as a free lunch. There's a cause and effect for everything. There is one who produces the outcome. There is one who gets the reward for the outcome. There is no positive result which did not require a positive input. That is not the way life works. There is no such thing as a free lunch. And so if what you were hoping you would get is a free lunch, by just logging into Lev AI, and suddenly it would spit out content that you've never said, and it would pull out of you brilliance that you didn't know existed. Well, no, it can't do that. What you have to do is give it a chance to do what it does. And so between now and Monday, when this company goes live, I will tell you that every person here would be well advised to invest many hours, not a few minutes. Every person here would be well advised to invest many hours so that whenever you pull the cork and say, now we go, I mean, now we really go, let it be that Lev AI knows you, not just knows who you are, but they know the depth of what you are and what it was in your life's experience that caused you to become that. You see, the reason I have complete confidence in the deliverability of information through my own personalized avatar is because it's been loaded up with, even though this doesn't look like it, there's more than 150 hours of content inside this little syllabus. And if one understands the content here, it's called More Happy More of the Time, Lessons in Life and Leadership. This is what I have lived my life by for a long, long, long time. And all 150 hours of that content is uploaded to the digital avatar. All of that content must be likewise loaded into each of these functions if I want each of these functions to represent me in a way that doesn't just make me feel good or make me proud or happy, but that improves my effectiveness, because that's why we're doing it. And so, right down here, enter my writing instructions. I put, I am a thought leader and should sound as such. Well, that's fine, but it's not sufficient. That's leaving way too much up to the artificial mind of Lev AI. And so before the night is done, I will go back into this. And by the way, I clicked on Analyze Instructions. And it came back after I clicked on Analyze Instructions. It came back and it said, you didn't tell us enough to do a very good job for you. Essentially, that is what it said. So we need to give it enough information for it to become our greatest advocate. And now we go over to brand me. This is like really cool. And because I didn't put anything here, it looked at me as it understood me up until this morning. And I hadn't done any added. I done Samantha and I spent literally 5 minutes wanting to race through to get logged into the account, just writing down the things that we had to write down to get past the fields. And it was incredibly insufficient. But nevertheless, even with those handful of words, it came back and it gave me a slogan: unlock success and lead with the heart. That's not horrible for me, but it's also insufficient. That's not terrible. There's nothing about that that I disagree with, but that doesn't describe me. It doesn't. There's more to me than that. And so I need to use all 100 of those words and then let Lev AI reduce it to the appropriate number of words to properly describe the message so that people do know, who am I? Who am I speaking with? This next step down there, your story, that was written, and truthfully, it's not bad. This was written when I had done no more than, again, Samantha and I literally racing through the back office trying to get to the point where we could see all the various functions. And so there was maybe 5 minutes total in all of the fields. And it said, I'm Randy. I'm a passionate advocate for accessible AI and leadership development, driven by a commitment to fostering positive leadership and character traits. My goal is to create a life free of financial stress for my family while pursuing personal and financial success, influenced by great minds like Tiger Woods and Malcolm Gladwell, as well as inspired work such as The Interior Castle and Running with the Giants. I thrive on golf, snowmobiling, and continuous growth in leadership and personal development. Each step is fueled by a belief in the power of character and the possibility of greatness within everyone. There's nothing about that that's wrong. It also, you can see that it is just insufficient. I thrive on golf, snowmobiling. No, I don't. That's not me. That's not describing me. I do it. I certainly don't thrive on it. It's a release. It's a few minutes to cause my mind to think about something other than that which I'm focused on. And so simply by writing a few little bullet points, AI did an okay job, but that didn't capture the essence of what it means to be me. If you want this tool to capture the essence of what it means to be you, then give this some thought. Give it some thought. And then when you do your first posts, then you're going to see how effective was what you wrote. Don't look at it. Don't. Some of you folks are going to get frustrated with me now, because some of you have sent me messages today telling me AI didn't write very well. To which my response is, no, you didn't do very well at explaining to AI what was important to you. That's the truth. AI does not have some unique ability to figure out what you want to say, how you want to say it, and why. And so, once again, the more densely compacted is our content, each of us, then the more highly valuable will be this overall process. And so, what are we going to do first? The first thing we're going to do is we're going to train the tools so the tools can do those things that we would have them do. Now, here, just for fun, only a few minutes ago, I published a website. And I published a website because I wanted you to know how quickly it is. This literally was done in 7 minutes. And this is it. It's published on the World Wide Web right now. It's live. And I did it literally minutes before we started this session. And all it is right now is okay, nothing is in here. I didn't even fill in any of the blanks. But here is a fully published operating on the World Wide Web site. And I can now go back into that site and I can load any kind of functionality that I want to load. There is literally no limitation as to what I can put there right now. Because the website, and by the way, it is so ridiculously simple, you almost cannot do it wrong. All you can fail to do is provide it enough information. If you don't provide it enough information, then it cannot capture the essence of who you are, and it cannot capture the essence of what your business is. Well, if I have more than one project, I can create a brand. I mean, I can create a new website right now if I want, and the business or product can be LEVI, or the business or product I can add new. It can be add new. I'm going to create a new website right now, and it is going to be about leadership development. Leadership, let's see, I'm going to call this leadership personified. And our goal is, my silly iPad is to, oops, makes me push a shift bar to space. Make you the best. Okay, just give an example here. And now I create it. Just a moment here. We will have the framework of another website. We can have it published and operating in about 3 minutes time. That's all it will take. And so there we go. Now I get to go into it and choose everything about it. What do I want the fonts to look like? Do I want the font in the heading to be the same as the font in the body? I get a chance to put every kind of material into it that I possibly could want. And it allows me to attach shopping carts, really and truly, and no kidding. We could have another website published and operating, published live on the web about 3.5 minutes from now. And there would be exactly no cost associated with that. Why? Because I am already a subscriber to Lev AI. And if one chooses to invest 10 minutes, you can have a functional but not remarkable site published. If you choose to invest an hour, you can have a functional and remarkable site. If you choose to invest an hour and a half, you can have a functional, remarkable site loaded with content, loaded with features, a full shopping cart, include contact, include embed CRM. There's no limit. There is no limit to what you can do. And automatically, without even trying, it also creates for me, for you, a digital business card. And so as we go up the framework here, what are we doing? We are simplly finding, and now we go into my email. It'll write emails for us if we choose for it to. And once again, how skillfully it writes the email is going to be completely reliant or dependent upon how completely you taught it who you are. It cannot scan your social media presence and learn the same things about you as you know about you. How much are you willing to let it know? I'm willing to let it know everything about me. The more it knows about me, the more I believe people will want to be in association with me. That's the truth. I think the more it knows about my eagerness and willingness to help them accomplish their goals, the more it knows about my lifelong experience of helping others accomplish their goals, the more it knows about the way that I've chosen to live my life. It is my belief that the more it knows about me, the more likely one is to want to be in association with me. If you feel that same way about yourself, then why in the world would you not want the world to know? And if you don't feel that way about yourself, then join me today in this thought. That's certainly a much different thought than I would have had about myself 35 years ago. I pushed myself very hard against the grinding wheel of life. There was a time when I really wanted you to see what I've got. Look at my Lamborghini, look at my Ferrari, look at my house, look at mine. Because I sure didn't want you to look at me loaded up with all my character flaws. Well, to the extent that you have been working on yourself for a long time, then I would suggest that you open the door, let people know who you are. To the extent they know who you are, they will then be drawn towards you. You know, we talk about attraction marketing. No one will be attracted to you if they don't know who you are. Obviously, I'm not talking about simple physical attraction. I'm talking about the kind of deep root attraction that causes a person to say, my life will be better if I associate myself with that person, with that group of people. If I'm willing to adhere to that set of principles, my life will be better. See, if you are willing to share, the power will be absolute. Bullet point. And what do we see? Here we get to add new contacts. We do simple screenshot import. We've seen that in the CRM. When we do new screenshot import, then what happens? You know what happens? We add a contact by doing a screenshot import. When we add a contact by doing a screenshot import, immediately our virtual assistant goes to work scouring and scanning the social media platforms of each of those participants, then comes back with a robust report telling you what you need to know about the contact. Now you know what you need to know and understand about the contact, and you have taught the LEV AI system enough about you. Now is when it would be appropriate for you to put that contact into email and have the LEV AI solution craft the message that is most likely to get the outcome you're looking for. And I promise you this at the outset, in the very beginning, me, Randy, I can write a more engaging email or text or post about myself and my business than AI can. Why? Because I'm a professional communicator and I've worked for 35 years to gather this bank of knowledge and learn how to deliver it. Today, I am more effective than my AI tool to the extent that I'm speaking in English and the person I'm speaking with is in English. However, tomorrow, and I don't mean 24 hours from now, but I mean about 72 hours from now, no more than 5 days from now, my AI writing tool will do it better than me because it will know all that I know and it will know so many things that I don't know about the candidate because of the social media scanning that it's done. Folks, this is where it starts to get magic. Remember that we can use AI, we can use Lev AI as a way to grow our business, or we can use AI, Lev AI, as a business. Um, I'll have to be careful that I not encourage everyone to use it as a business because what I really want is to have 15 million customers, people. And that's what I want, me individually. I want 15 million customers. You say, Randy, that's absurd. No, it's not. It is not. Not when every single person that I know and don't know is going to be required to adopt AI over the coming 4.5 years. That's the truth, folks. 8 billion people on planet Earth, and more than 80% of them will have completely integrated AI into their lives by the time 4.5 years go by from right now, and the rest of them will 5 years after that. And so you see the idea of an outsized number of people embracing a thought, that would be insane if we were talking about anything we've ever done before. But nothing we've done before is more profound than fire or electricity. Nothing we've done before is bigger than the Industrial Revolution, 10 times bigger and maybe 10 times faster. And so now, to the extent that we have taught our virtual assistants all it needs to know about us, and to the extent that we have uploaded our contact into our CRM, granting to our AI solution the opportunity to come back with a report telling us exactly what our candidate wants to hear. So now our solution knows what our candidate wants to hear, and it knows all about us because it scanned their social media presence and because of the content that we loaded when we set our system up. Now it writes a better email than I can write or than you can write. That's the way that it works. But it won't write a better email than you can write or that I can write if you simply log in the first time, write down a couple of bullet points, and then push send. That is not going to happen. And so, as is always the case There is the user. And that's why people, oh my gosh, this is going to replace me. Well, don't misunderstand this. But if this replaces you, you richly deserve to be replaced and should be. I'm sorry, that's the truth. If this replaces you, you richly deserve to be replaced and you should be. Because right now the opportunity is before you to put a 10x or a 100x on your value by simply letting the tool do for you what it can do, but you have to come first. You come first. AI comes second. That will never change. You, the human being, you come first. You're the one that has to load the content into it. You're the one that has to be willing to open your life's experience. And if you'll open your whole life experience, not just parts of it, not just the parts you're proud of, open your whole life so that it really does know you, then it can articulate clearly what is the message the other person needs to hear so that they can see that you are the person who can guide them where they want to go. Okay, there's MyNetwork. Won't spend any more time on that right now. And now, help with business, folks. So, help with business. I want to launch a business. Now, what we're going to see right now, I want to launch a, business. Now, what it will do first is it is going to pull here. I said, I want to launch a business, and there is next to none of my content loaded into this right now. Right, all these things I've been talking about. Remember, Samantha and I, we sat and we chatted. It spent less than 5 minutes. And 5 minutes in, we then were able to log into the back office because we were able to skip the other features. And so there's almost nothing there. I want to launch a business. And so now our young lady here, she's saying, well, Randy, you haven't given me much to work with. I mean, that's kind of what she's saying as she's thinking right now. You haven't given me much to work with here, buddy. You want to launch a business? I don't know anything about you. And so, well, what kind of business are
What
you going
type
to
of
launch?
business are you planning to launch?
And so, by the way, you couldn't hear her because I'm on my headset. But what she just said was, what kind of business are you planning to launch? And you can choose the voice. It's an interesting thing, isn't it, folks? Do you see that your attention is kind of drawn to that foreign accent? She sounds like she might be British. Perhaps she's Australian. I sometimes get those confused. But isn't it clear that we sort of lean into that a little bit? A foreign accent, we kind of lean into it. And there are some accents that we like, we're drawn to them. There are some accents that are a little bit more like sandpaper for us. And so I picked a voice that I would be drawn to. I didn't specifically choose whether it would be a male or a female. I haven't decided if I'll keep that female or if I'll change that with a male. I don't know. Haven't decided that yet. It's day number one. But you see, she asked me what kind of business I'm going to launch, and that's because I didn't give her any information. A couple of days from now, when I say I would like to launch a business, she will then be able to review all of my entrepreneurial experiences for the last 50 years. And she'll be able to draw upon all of those experiences for all of that period of time. And then instead of saying, what type of business are you planning to launch? Then she will say, well, reflective of what took place when you last sold a company, these were the steps that led to success. Here were the errors. Here were the strengths. Here's what I suggest you do. See, once again, the level of the depth, the breadth, the quality of things that we give her, him, it to work with, then the more valid is the content. And so, once again, if you don't like the content you're getting back, you need to understand that you didn't create the right kind of framework. If you create the right kind of framework, then you will get answers that are better answers than you can provide. You'll get better solutions than you can provide. If you're not a communicator and entrepreneurship is new for you, then the fact is that even the simplest prompts will be better. What kind of business are you going to launch? I'm going to call it AI. Okay, so now let's see what she says about AI. And once again, you'll notice that there's very little content there. When this is loaded with heavy content, then it's bang, bang, bang. Right now, she's having to search around because I've said almost nothing in all of my profile information, and she's trying to figure out what would be included in my profile information that would be appropriate to this conversation. If there were a few hundred hours of content loaded into that, then instead of it taking this time for her to try to figure out something I said somewhere that might be applicable to this, or something that one of my chosen thought leaders has said, or some article that I posted, she comes up with this. Fantastic. Oh, and now she's going to talk.
Fantastic. Identify a specific problem your AI business will solve. Start by researching competitors and defining your unique value proposition. Your next step should involve crafting a clear business model and understanding your target audience. Can you tell me more about your audience or niche?
Okay, now again, my headset's on, so you couldn't hear her, but the pace of delivery was really good. She speaks very, very clearly. It's kind of an easy voice to listen to. Her mannerisms are engaging. But what did she answer? She came back and what did she say? You didn't tell me anything, fella. Tell me more about your audience or niche. See, what she said is what I said. You got to give me better information, Randy, if you want something other than this would be consistent with a typical chat GPT response, a generic, forgive me for saying it, but relatively low value response. A low value response was created by our low value input. We cannot have high value outcome if we have low value input. And so let that get drilled into your heads, folks. Each of us, we right now, we get to choose the effectiveness of this tool for us. It will be effective no matter what, simply because it's AI. But will it be? Remember on the earlier slides we were showing, we're not showing it anymore, but it said that of those entrepreneurs who have adopted AI, they're seeing a 38% increase in revenue. Well, I think that's pathetic. I mean, that's pathetic, isn't it? If this is more profound than fire or electricity or anything done in the past, then a 38% increase in efficiency, that's absolutely awful. But that would be reflective of someone who, first of all, didn't have the whole suite of tools that was working together. And by the way, if you were not involved with LEV AI, then what would have happened is we would have spent some time on one application, which I would have had a subscription and a price for to build our website. We'd have spent some time on one application talking about screenshot import, and we'd have had one application and costs associated with that. And the CRM would not be communicating at all with the next piece. And so the crafting of scripts that are comparing the social media presence of this individual with your business model, see, they're not happening. Don't misunderstand the importance of a failure to communicate between these applications. Some of you folks might the movie year eating egg after egg after egg. And the warden says, what we seem to have here is a failure to communicate. Folks, the biggest reason that those using AI today are having a 38% increase in revenues instead of a 38,000% increase in revenues is because of a failure to communicate of each application with one another and a failure of the entrepreneur to communicate with the app to give it the depth and breadth of information that it has to have in order to do its magic. Okay. And so there we have those bits. Now we come up here. Train my AI. We've talked about that. My AI chat. This is where we teach it all that you need to know. All that you need to know. The more you give it, the more valuable will be each response. How can I learn? This is my keyboard is broken. That's what learn. How to, oops. Uh, sorry for typing. Okay, how can I learn to be consistent? All right, so now what this is going to do is it's looking, because there's nothing that I have provided it with that would respond to this question. Nothing. When you folks are utilizing Lev AI, you have the opportunity, if you want, to load all of the content of whatever thought leader you want. If I happen to be among them, my entire library is available to you folks. It costs you nothing. Now, right now, today, what it has done is it has spit out these generic responses. This is very much like what happens when one uses a chat GPT. We're getting generic responses from the internet that is not specific to our project. And these responses are just fine. This is a fine way to be consistent. But what if you are turning to, some of you turn to me as one of your leaders. Some of you turn to me as your principal leader. Is it not true that the specific content of your principal leader or of one of those to whom you pull information, would you not rather have content specific to your leader? I think back of the days when I was the one most of the time being taught. Now I spend most of my time teaching and I get a little bit of time being taught by others who know more than me. when I was the one who was spending most of my time being taught. What I really wanted to know is, what does my leader think? Not what does someone think that I've never met? Not what does some body of information out there that's generally, no, I want to know, what does the person who specifically has accomplished what I want to accomplish, he or she is doing exactly what I want to do. They have been in these same situations. They've come through the other side with a profound success. What does he or she think? You see, the ability to have the specific, this is the personalized GPT as opposed to the generic chat GPT. This will shortly be loaded with all of my content, all of the content of whatever you think is appropriate, your thought leader, your coach, your mentor in this business. And suddenly you get not just answers, but you get better answers than you can get some other way. Business or product profiles. Remember that we have the opportunity in the Pro package to have multiple profiles. And so here I just created two quick profiles so that I could show you what I'm talking about. When you first click on it, there will not be either profile. So you just click add new. And so what are the two profiles that I put up? Well, today, my primary business, our business, this is what we do, is LEV AI. And so there is a profile at LEV AI with certain content that is loaded into that profile because it is talking about direct selling business. And so you can see all I did was I just started, I've not even filled the system out. In order to complete this profile, before I begin using it, I will fill it all out with all of the content that is specific to that particular business. And there you see, I've got a business profile. It allows me to create an email, create a website for that profile, taking a sum total of 7 minutes and no added costs. It lets me create my first mass distribution email, and on we go through it. Now that is one profile, but then we come back over and what do we see? We remember that I also have leadership personified. This is something that I have done for years where I've offered free for a lot of years leadership development content. Why? Because when a person gathers leadership content, when they become more, they get more happy more of the time, they become more successful in various parts of their lives. If they're able to tie any of that back to that content, sooner or later, someday, one day, we wind up doing business of some kind. And so this is something I've always done. It's free, it doesn't cost anything. And it's part of what I call shaking the tree. It's part of me gathering people together from out there in the universe coming towards me. Well, the message that I deliver in Leadership Personified is quite a different message than the message I would deliver to my very specific LEV AI team, isn't it? Of course it is. And so I need to have different profiles because the messaging is different. And with the Pro Pack, you can have as many profiles as you want, depending upon how many messages you have delivered. And now, as you just saw, if all I do is create the profile, I just create it, then I am completely at the mercy of the World Wide Web for my LEV AI solution to go out there and find things that might somehow make sense within the context and theme of AI or within the context and theme of leadership personified, whatever that means. If, on the other hand, between today and Monday, profiles just one time, and then maybe freshen it up once a year, then I will have the absolute best way to deliver to the largest number of people a message that hits them where they are. Why? Because they're not going to receive a message until my CRM has told me what they want to know. Now that I know what they want to know, then I can deliver, I can decide which of my various business profiles is most likely to hit their hot button, because there's no point in me trying to convince anyone to do something I want them to do. There is instead tremendous logic in me trying to identify what other people want to do and helping them do it with increasing effectiveness and efficiency. And therein lies the magic of the multiple business profiles. And that, by the way, does demand the professional pack. Now, here I want to write a message. And when I want to write a message, what am I going to do? Am I going to reply to a social media post? Am I going to start a conversation? Is it going to be a cold outreach? Right? I'm going to use a cold outreach this time. And what will be my objective? What am I trying to do? I'm trying to build rapport. Okay? And so if I'm going to try to build rapport, business or product. So now I've got to select my leadership personified product is what I'm going to select. Now I'm going to upload an image. I won't bother doing it. I guess I will. It's like the simplest thing imaginable. So I just go, well, I'm just gonna take a photo. So I come right in here and the image that I'm gonna upload, turn that baby around. There we go. It is me. Bang. Use photo. Okay, so there's my image. Any additional instructions? Only additional instruction would be, um, I hope to become friends with each participant. And so now, and by the way, it lets me come down here and I can communicate in whatever language I want. And so now, just for the heck of it, let's say that I'm going to speak in German. And so I hope to become friends with each person. It will allow me to attach a file if I want. And so the file that I would attach to that would be the LEV AI introductory video in all likelihood, well, because I put here the leadership personified. So put whatever file it is, and then I ask it to generate it. And so now what did we do? We selected which business profile because I have more than one message to deliver. We told it, oops, what did it say over here? Failure response. Okay, I have absolutely no clue why that happened. I'm going to try it one more time. And if it does that same thing again, then what I will do is send a screenshot to customer service. I've not had this happen yet, but this is all part of, okay, use my social craft announcement. Okay, so somehow I've got an issue there. I'll go back and fix it. Can't demo that one right now. And that is part of being first. Okay, I've used it. And what it will do is it will remember what I'm doing now is I'm building rapport, and I'm building rapport by sending a message. It will allow me to send the message in whatever language that I want to send it in. I'm going to go back and just see if it will pop it out in English, perhaps, if that was my issue. I don't know. I don't think so because I've sent them in multiple languages already, but real-time testing here, folks. That's what you're seeing right now. And by the way, this is the first glitch like that I have seen. So I will send that on to customer service and see what that's about. Okay, the next thing that it will do, it will write for me a social media post if I want to. And so I can create a quick post and instant post. I'm going to go with a quick post, and I'm going to select an image. And I should only have, no, I don't have one there yet because I've not had anything there yet. So what I'm going to do is upload. And I'm simply going to take a photo again, like I did before. Here will be my photo. See if this works this time. Having done that, boom, boom, use photo. Okay, instructions. Be engaging. And now I'm going to generate a quick post. Analyzing my inputs. What am I telling it? What was important? What's happening? And once again, I told it next to nothing. And as you know, I've written next to nothing. And here's what it posted for me. Putting on my visionary hat today in bold pink, reflecting on strategies and leadership, how we can shape our futures out of the limits of stress, sharing insights from one innovative leader to another. What leadership traits inspire you most? And boom, there, that is a post. Now, that post is a good, solid, okay for me. I can write a better post than that. But you know, there are countless people in our business who cannot because it's not what they've done. And so, even if we're starting with the very most, I mean, this is basically a generic post right here, isn't it? There's nothing that says nothing, but it's still better than what a lot of people say. And by the way, there's also, this will actually teach you pace and cadence. If you're wearing people out with social media posts, you're going to go nowhere. And so now, if I want, all I've got to do is click share, and that will get posted right now. Boom. Maybe take a picture of that. Just take a picture of it. Because a couple of days from now, I will illustrate this again after having loaded a few hours of content into it. And then I will ask it to create an engaging post. Now it will be able to draw upon all of the information that I have put into it, including this has not even yet had access to my own social media profiles. Haven't even done that yet. And so, as soon as this has access to all of my social media profiles, and as soon as I have done the proper amount of writing, then it will create a more engaging post than I create. And remember, over the course of my career, I've had a lot of things that have gone my way. I've done some things very poorly. One of the things I have not done is a good job of growing a social media presence. There are people who have no more historic success than I, who have millions of followers, and I do not. Okay, now we can come down here. This is really important. I encourage you all to do this. At the outset, always click on compliance check. What will happen in a very short period of time, you'll come to understand what things are okay to say and what things are not okay to say. it will come back and tell you if you made an income statement, if you made a health statement, if you said or did something that is likely to fall outside of the boundaries of any regulator, then it will come back and it will tell you that. Now, the very fact that this is taking as long as it's taking right now implies to me that there's another kind of a glitch here of some kind because I've had, there we go, very low risk. This post can go. Now, if I had put in there, putting on my visionary hat today in bold pink, if the next statement had said, I'm going to show you how to make $1 million a month, then it would come back and it would say very high risk. This will fall outside. In fact, let's go in here now. Areas for improvement, considering adding hashtags that are more relevant to the context of the post to expand reach without implying any misleading content. Now I can do this and look what it just did. It just made the hashtags for me. There they all are. It just did it. It told me how to improve it and it just improved it. Now I can put here, make 1 million per month. Make 1 million per month. Now let's do a compliance check. And it's going to come back and say, no, 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 don't do that. Make 100 million per month. Are you crazy? If you will guide every person in your group to do a compliance check on each social media post, before too long, you will have a completely compliant group and you'll never have someone making posts that get your organization or you or our company in trouble. And those of us who have been around it for a long time, we kind of know the rules, but we also, many of us, self included, have fallen into the trap of pushing the envelope sometimes. And so here, this post is very high risk. Earnings claim. The phrase make 100 million per month is highly deceptive and misleading as it presents an unrealistic earnings claim without any substantiation. Such exaggerated income claims violate FTC guidelines on earnings claims and can mislead consumers into believing they can achieve extraordinary financial success without evidence to support these claims. And so now I can come right over here, update post as suggested. Boom, there it is. The post is good to go. And now I can click share. It will copy the link for me. It'll post it right to wherever I want it to go, or I can copy and paste the link and put it where I want. Okay, folks, we have now invested, not spent. We have invested an hour. Um, an hour is how much time I had for this session. I'm going to do this again tomorrow and again the next day and again the next day until such time as I'm satisfied that there's a general awareness of how to use the system. Tomorrow's content, no doubt, will have some similarity. It will result in me responding to questions that I'm sure that I will get. And it will result in me providing more information based upon the things that I learned today as a result of my participation in it. Now, to tighten it up all again, remember that we had a separate login. We logged in to this site. We logged into my.app.getlev.ai. That's where we started. If we, in fact, want to go to our back office, then we click here. See right down at the bottom left? Then we click on back office. And when we click on back office, it leads us here. And here we will now have a separate login to our back office. And so this is not difficult. Will it be a little bit easier when all of a sudden we have it all under one roof? Yes, but this is like a really, really, really modest inconvenience. And so now here we're back in the back office. By the way, you guys all know that I like full disclosure. And so far, what are we seeing right here? If we come in here and we take a look at what's generating commissions, then we can see, boom, boom, come on. Okay, so here we have, if we look at weekly commissions, then here we can see what? Here we see all of these. These are simply, so I have 18 personally enrolled people in this account who this month so far have activated their account. When they activated it, in each case, these people spent $100. When they spent $100, it created a $30 commission. If we see a 15 down here somewhere, that will be someone who acted. There we go. This is one who activated the basic pack instead of the pro pack. You say, wait a minute, Randy, it's 30. And I thought that the direct sales commission was 50. No, it's always been taught the direct sales commission is $30 and we earn a first month unilevel. And so now you come up here and it's talking about these earnings. We're seeing first the weekly earnings. And so the weekly earnings include $510 in direct sales commissions and the weekly unilevel, right? The direct sales commission is 30 on the big pack and the team commission is 20, aggregating 50, but it's two separate items. and the ongoing unilevel is paid monthly. And so what you see here in the commission screen is what? It shows us the customer acquisition bonus and the weekly unilevel. That's not the same as monthly unilevel. When a person buys the package, $30 is paid immediately in direct sales commission, and a weekly unilevel bonus is paid of 20% wherever that person is placed. If it's held on your first generation, you get the 20%. If it's placed under somebody else, they get the 20%. And so if we want to look at the monthly, then it shows us that so far the monthly accrual of unilevel earnings is $278, right? And so we have the weekly accrual. The weekly accrual is 316. Why? Because that is the second part of what you've thought of as the $50 direct sales bonus. That's actually 30 direct sales, 30 first month team commission. That is paid out weekly. The ongoing monthly unilevel is reflected here. Okay, now this is reflective of a company that went live yesterday. These are tiny, tiny numbers. They're not big numbers. I, of course, realize that. It is reflective of our company being open right now in 2 nations for a few hours, and the vast majority of people really not having any clue of what they've got their hands on yet. Over the course of the next hand. And by the way, you'll always see, always every step of the way, there is never a time when I am not absolutely, completely transparent and willing to show you everything, every step of the way. There's never a time when that is not. That will always be true. Okay, folks, I've got a little boy I've got to go pick up from school. I of course cannot know what kind of content you were hoping to hear today. I delivered to you the content that I thought was most appropriate based upon my experiences since yesterday when I started actually playing in the back office. It'll be a handful of days, not very many more, until you will each begin loading the content into your digital clone. And my greatest, please, encouragement, I'm begging you all, you get the chance, you get to decide how effective are your AI solutions by the depth and breadth of content you load into it. Let it be that we invest the next few days doing that, loading that content into it, and poke and prod around and poke and prod around. Write down your questions and bring them to me in advance of this next session. Questions you have that arise from this session or questions that you have that were not contemplated here, please send them to my email. The hill is steep. The hill, we're going to climb a hill. The hill is steep at gmail.com. THEHILLISSTEEP at gmail.com. Send me any questions you have that arise from this conversation or questions that were not addressed that you'd like to have addressed tomorrow. I've not yet determined what time tomorrow, but I'll announce that before the night is done. There will be ongoing daily training sessions until we have a general awareness of how the tech is being utilized. And of course, we have the major global rollout on Monday. That will result in a whole lot more need for first iterations of these discussions. Please know, folks, I'm your greatest advocate. I'm your biggest cheerleader, and anything I can do to help in a tangible way I want to. I am going to go get Bosco from school. God bless you all, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.